This is where, well, everything began. The birth of Christ, and in this ancient city, the birth of medical marijuana. So this is where it all began.
Essentially, yes.
Israel is way ahead of most countries in the world when it comes to cannabis research. Thanks to this man, Dr. Raphael Meshulam, who has devoted the past 4 decades to figuring out how people of all ages can benefit from bud.
It is an illicit drug in the US, not in Israel. It's not an illicit drug in most countries, but it is an illicit drug in the US. Any reason behind it? None.
None.
It's not toxic, period.
Meshulam, known as the godfather of cannabis research, was the first person to isolate the THC component, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. And with that sparked an international debate, not about how dangerous marijuana is, but instead about how helpful it can be, even for children.
This is what is the material that's being given to epileptic children.
Meshulam and his colleague were the first to test THC drops on kids with cancer, enabling 8-year-old Liev, who had a brain tumor, to consume cannabis to help with his pain and with the side effects of surgery and chemotherapy. He shares a special bond with his father, who smokes weed to help with his CRPS, a chronic pain condition.
First, I began taking fewer pills, and second, I came to live like a human. And I understand that this is my savior, my life savior.
Medical marijuana is estimated to be a $40 million industry in Israel. And research conducted here has helped fuel America's own medical marijuana business.
You were allowed up to your quota.
Expected to reach upwards of $2 billion this year alone. And this country is also unique in that it's not just in the comfort of one's own home that people take marijuana as medicine. In Israel, patients are allowed to consume medical marijuana in hospitals, even here at the Children's Oncology Unit at Sheba Medical Center. We met Yaniv Yeshed at this government-run hospital. His 9-year-old son was diagnosed with bone marrow cancer and is undergoing chemotherapy.
It came with a lot of throwing up, no appetite, lack of taste.
He had no idea about medical marijuana until other parents at the hospital told him it helped their child.
They call it desire drops because it makes them want to eat. If someone told me at the beginning that there was this option of cannabis, I think I could have saved him a lot of months of pain.
We published that exactly in children, giving pure THC to children. They stopped vomiting. Why physicians didn't go and use it, I don't know.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. We told people about it. And nothing happened. It's, let me find the right word, outrageous.
But now things are changing, for the very youngest who are ill to the very oldest. At this nursing home in Israel, patients as old as 103 consume medical marijuana. Here, they eat it. They get injected with it. They swallow it, and they smoke it. 100-year-old Sarah Kopit takes 1 cannabis pill 3 times a day. She started consuming after a hip replacement surgery last year. And now she can even walk with minimal pain. And Holocaust survivor Moshe Root, who lights up about twice a day. Still, there are those who are skeptical about the medicinal benefits of marijuana, especially for young, sick children.
I'm afraid that later his body will get used to it and there will be side effects.
But seeing how it has helped others, they still don't discount the option.
If it relieves him only for a little while, then yes, it is possible.
Ironically, many of the advances Dr. Meshulam made in his cannabis research were financially sponsored by the American government in the form of the National Institute of Health.
The NIH gave me a grant money, and I was lucky enough to get money for almost 40 years. I got about $150,000 a year, so multiply that by 40, it's quite a bit.
I think most people would be a little bit surprised about that.
It became an American problem, and they said it's the American interest to support our work.
And in many ways, the Schedule I drug is still an American problem. But as medical marijuana becomes more accepted in the United States, those who advocate for legalization are hoping it could turn into an American solution. Dina Gosofsky, CNBC.